many of you are interested in politics or how the government works? How many of you groan or roll your eyes when things like campaigns and candidates and current issues come up in conversation? Well, I'm here to tell you that I was once like that. I was uninterested, uninformed, and I quite frankly didn't care. Although I don't consider myself to be a political junkie or an expert, I have learned to appreciate the political process and the way that our government functions and works. Now, within this speech, I'll discuss the 3 types of elections, the Electoral College, and give some tips on how to stay politically involved. First, let's talk about the way elections work. There are 3 types of elections: the primary, the general, and the runoff elections. The primary election occurs in August, and this is the first election within each party where a candidate is nominated to represent that specific party in the general election. The 3 most powerful parties in the U.S. are the Republican, the Democratic, and the Independent parties. Now, registered voters are not required to vote within the primary party or primary voting, but if they are going to vote, it has to be within their registered party. Now, following the primary election is the general election. Within this, registered voters vote for their favorite candidate regardless of party affiliation. Candidates from each party run against one another in hopes to win that office for which they are running for. Candidates campaign throughout their districts and hope to win over votes and support from their constituents. They participate in different things like town hall debates, community events, service projects, anything that they can do to show their constituents who they are as a person and what they believe in and what they support. Now, the winner of this election wins the position. A runoff election occurs when a candidate doesn't receive majority votes. The 2 candidates with the greatest number of votes will then run against each other. Now, depending on the level of election, this could occur immediately after the general election or after a designated time in which candidates have the opportunity to continue to campaign to their constituents. Now, the U.S.'s voting system is more complex than simply tallying up the votes that each candidate receives to determine the winner. Many of you might have heard of the Electoral College, but don't necessarily know what it is or don't know how it works. It was developed by the Founding Fathers to avoid ill-informed citizens going to the polls. Now, each state is given a certain number of electoral votes based on how many members that they have in Congress. Those members act as electors, and these electors are pre-selected. They are our U.S. senators and representatives. Now, each elector typically votes based on the majority votes in their state. The Electoral College is only utilized within the presidential election. It functions with 538 possible votes, and 270 of those 538 are needed to win a presidential election. And the votes are not split between states. It is a winner-takes-all policy. So, for example, the state of Mississippi has 6 possible electoral votes, and in the 2020 presidential election, President Donald Trump was able to win over all 6 of those votes. Now, politics are often perceived by the current generation as uninteresting and obnoxious, and many people just kind of get turned off when politics or being involved in politics comes up in conversation. Many people have the perspective that politics require an all-or-nothing level of commitment, but in actuality, there are a lot of different ways that people can be involved in politics and help support issues and candidates. One way to do that is staying up to date with different candidates and campaign issues. By doing this, citizens take the opportunity that they have and the responsibility of staying educated and staying informed so that they can use their power as citizens to have a say in the direction that our country goes. Another way is grassroots campaigning, and it's simply volunteering on a campaign that you support. Now, Grassroots on Wired said that grassroots campaigning is passionate individuals coming together to make a difference for their communities. Grassroots is a simple and tangible way to stay involved with politics and to stay involved with a campaign and issues that you support. And it's easy as doing some phone banking, going door to door, and just going to different events that candidates will be at. Another way is voting. Voting is an opportunity and a right that's been given to U.S. citizens that allows them to have a voice in deciding which individuals will next lead our country. CNBC said that roughly 54% of millennials voted in the 2020 presidential election, which apparently is much more than previous years. Registering to vote and utilizing the privilege that we're given as citizens is one that should not be taken lightly. Hopefully now you know a little bit more about the 3 types of elections, how the Electoral College works, and how easy it is to be involved in politics. It's important for people to take part in the happenings of their country and to do so by staying involved and knowing how processes and different things work within our government. American voters have the responsibility to understand all these things in order to be well-informed citizens and to have a say in the direction that our country goes. Thank you.